Holy terror at 20,000 feet, Batman! Tiki here, high above the skies of Gotham City somehow in this imaginary scenario where I'm watching through every single episode of Batman the Animated Series. And we're coming towards the end of a little bit of a slog, folks. We've got a light at the end of the tunnel, and Dragon's gonna guide us there, my friend. Dragon, take it away. Take the controls. Are you a pilot, Dragon?
You see, folks, long ago, I made a vow to educate Tiki in the ways of Batman the Animated Series, serving as his spirit guide to Gotham in a way, or co-pilot in this instinct.
And tonight, as the oxygen masks come down, we're gonna breathe in the goodness that is terror in the sky.
I'm just sure Sullenberger's somewhere just like rolling his eyes right now. I can just feel it.
All right, so Dragon, in our podcast scenario, I've placed us in. This podcast has become improv. Apparently, we're in a plane crash, Dragon. We're in a plane crash.
Because Captain Dale had to bail.
All right. Enough with this silly plane crash nonsense. Dragon, I don't know about this episode. It's not aggressively bad by any means. It's good. I don't know. To tell you the truth, I'm a little indifferent about it. I don't think it comes together as well with the corresponding episode as Day of the Samurai did with Night of the Ninja. I think those two really, really bled into each other quite nicely. With On Leather Wings, I think the problem with On Leather Wings is that it just kind of outclasses this episode. Because that one obviously being the first Batcave we ever talked about, unless we talked about Christmas with the Joker first, I don't quite remember. But On Leather Wings, of course, that was a very big first episode to start out with. Really set a lot of standards for the show, kind of laid the groundwork for a lot of things. And Dragon, I got to admit, this episode, like I said, there's nothing bad about it at all. I want to emphasize that. There's nothing that I'm sitting there and I'm like, this isn't good. This isn't good storytelling. But I'm just sitting there and I'm like, nothing is elevated for me, man. This episode, it really doesn't pack much of a punch for me, and it could. It could with the Man-Bat stuff. And I kind of find it funny how... And Dragon, this is honestly, I say this with no ill will, because this is kind of what I enjoy about this whole conceit of the Batcave show that we have going on here. I honestly found this stuff with the dumb ninja to be more compelling than the stuff with Man-Bat when all is said and done.
What do you mean the dumb ninja?
I'm just saying, on paper, it's Batman has I don't know, I'm just saying, Man-Bat you would think would be, a more compelling... And I'm not saying this episode doesn't have bits of compelling stuff in it, I'm just saying there's I don't know, this episode is very middle of the road for me, Dragon. I'm saying that is neither a good thing or a bad thing, because to me it is just kind of a middle of the road episode.
Alright. Okay. Little context. All right, so this was directed by Boyd Kirkland. Of course, Boyd Kirkland, one of the kind of the upper echelon of directors. Did Joker's Favor, did Joker's Wild, also kind of a little Joker theme we got going on there. Did Appointment in Crime Alley, just to name a few. This was written by Steve Perry. Now, Steve Perry, funny you mentioned the dumb ninja, which again, I think it's a little harsh on. I think it'd be a little harsh on Kiyotaki personally, but anyway. One is Steve Perry. He wrote both Night of the Ninja and Day of the Samurai, and this episode was the beginning of his basically him becoming the sequel guy. Well, I shouldn't. I mean, obviously, Day of the Samurai was the beginning of that, but after that Ninja whole two-part story, then it kind of becomes a string. If he did the follow-up episodes. That was kind of
interesting. Okay.
Also, this was he had a co-writer on this, I believe, Mark Sereni, I believe, if I'm saying that remotely right. Mark Sereni. All right, so let's see. Nothing on him. You don't really see him do a lot of Batman episodes, so he was just kind of might have been on one and done. I'm not sure. It might have been a freelance. They did have a lot of freelance talent on Batman the Animated Series. That's probably the case with this guy. But if his name pops up again, we'll surely give him credit down the line. Okay. The studio that worked on this, of course, the fabulous Dong Yang studio. Dong Yang, they're kind of like the basically, if you can't get Spectre, Dong Yang, that's the next best thing. Don Gang is kind of like the house studio, as we've kind of gone over. They also did Joker's Favor, Appointment in Crime Alley, Nothing to Fear. So, of course, like these are the guys you go to for kind of the grandiose, but kind of the classic Batman style. And interestingly, I mentioned Boyd Kirkland directed this. Again, you have a few Kirkland kind of crossover there. A little bit of Joker's Favor, which Kirkland also did. Sounds like he just wanted to. He found a studio that he liked, and it kind of gelled that way for him. So it's a little fun fact there. So the idea of a she-bat, essentially, in this episode, the idea of the she-man bat. This is an idea. So this is not like it's not a Moon of the Wolf adaptation or anything. So don't worry about anything there. But the idea was taken from Detective Comics number 429. From what I hear, is the concept of like doing a female man bat. Completely different situation. No prank scene and none of that. Let's see. So Terror of the Sky is a nod to there's kind of the George Reeves Superman had an episode where one of the episodes called Terror in the Sky, and Terror in the Sky actually kind of pops up a few times in the DCAU. I'll say that much. One example is relevant here. Gray Ghost. Gray Ghost. There's a little Easter egg in the Gray Ghost where we see all the film casts of all the episodes of Beware the Gray Ghost, and one of the episodes is Terror in the Sky. It's like an old serial.
Nice.
It's like an old serial-esque title again. A really
Sure,
good cut,
sure.
not the George Reeves Superman. So that's
kind of sounds like an episode of Star Wars, honestly.
yeah. Yeah, it's kind of very much like like basically like battling ships, like battle in Star Wars space, battling planes in the actual case, that sort of. All right, let's see. So, of course, as I mentioned, follow up to the one that started it all with On Leather Wings, which I agree, Tiki, as you said, On Leather Wings. That's where it's really hard to beat. So give the episode a grain of salt in that regard, because I mean, it's like, how are you gonna top On Leather Wings? I mean, come on.
The thing is, it's like the Ninja episodes are both like really solid episodes that don't exactly go into like the upper tier of animated series episodes. Whereas I would argue that On Leather Wings definitely is upper tier, and this is maybe kind of like, a tier below the Ninja episodes. So you see my dilemma here, Dragon. You see my dilemma. Yes. Dilemma. I'm doing it sing-song, so you'll be less mad at me.
Mm-hmm. Anyway. Okay, so let's get things started here. Let's talk about Terror in the Sky. Let's break it down. So it's winter in Gotham, which looks great, by the way.
Yeah. Snowstorm going on. Snow on the buildings.
So we have some men.
Yeah.
Men unloading mangoes on the dock. Men unloading a bunch of mangoes on the dock. And this is the thing. On the rewatch, I forgot how prominent this scene was, and I think it's really hilarious on the rewatch.
I will admit, this is a really fun cold open. It really is. It's just like they're being terrorized by what we think is the man bat. The man bat is just going at the mangoes, and then they just kind of like we get some really cool atmospheric shots of the bat kind of flying over the moon too. And eventually they're just like, screw it, let them have the fruit.
Yeah, so Man-Bat just goes for these crates of mangoes, just chowing down, scares the men off, because they're thinking, well, it's just fruit, man, let's get out of here, that's the thing, that's the really weird thing, the stakes are relatively low, because Man-Bat they're not a man-eater, just going for the fruit.
Right.
So, I mean, again, it's not a good thing, but an ambush would be really easy to set up, is what I'm saying here. Yeah.
Alright, I'm sorry.
Anyway, so Man-Bat swoops down, flies away, goes back home, and of course the sonar POV is quite nice too, like that's
kind of a cool effect. Sure.
All right, let's see. So Man-Bat returns home. We go back home, and the Man-Bat catches a glimpse of Langstrom, which is a really nice little clue, by the way. I do like the sly clues here. I think they could have done some of them better, but some of these clues like this. The idea of this opening is a really interesting kind of red herring misdirect, where we see Kirk Langstrom, but then Kirk Langstrom wakes up, and you'll notice the Man-Bat that we saw was the legit Man-Bat, had the blue pants and everything. That's Man-Bat.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you know what? I didn't even catch that until you pointed it out, but that's a good call.
So that's the interesting thing. So yeah, we saw Man-Bat essentially. Then Kirk Langstrom wakes up, so we're led to believe, okay, Kirk Langstrom just had a nightmare because again he can't see himself because he's a man-bat and he looks just like him. And he wakes up in a sweat apparently, and again we're kind of filling the thing here where Francine, she wakes up as the spouse in bed like, oh god, you're having these recurring nightmares again. Presumably in the aftermath of On Leather Wings, Kirk Langstrom regularly he has nightmares about being Man-Bat. So Kirk goes to the window to get some air, but then he steps in mangoes. This is like
Oh my god.
This is the trip you're like, oh god, was it a dream?
Is the top gonna stop spinning, Dragon? Is it gonna tumble, or is it not gonna tumble?
So he steps in mangoes and ripped carpet, which is obvious indicator of what we just saw as the Man-Bat. And then, of course, we had further evidence that it was no dream. It's not just like a heady thing. It's like, no, legitimately happened. Langstrom, he kind of rolls up the rug on the sly, so Francine doesn't know what's going on here. Meanwhile, just to confirm what we just saw, I was like, okay, something's actually happening here. Batman overhears the dock workers that we just saw being terrorized, expressing their encounter to the GCPD. And the GCPD, well, they write it off. Giant bat creature. They write it off. So then we show the bat cycle a lot of love in this episode too, by the way. So Batman goes.
Oh yeah.
Cycle. Now this is not the first.
By the way, what do you think of the helmet?
You know what? I like the helmet. I love that it has like the bat ears on it. As a kid,
I don't know about the helmet. I gotta tell you, it's a little. I think it's a little silly for me personally.
Okay, three things. Okay.
All right, three things. Okay, go ahead.
One, what kind of hero is Batman if he doesn't wear a helmet for safety?
You know what? Adam West Batman would agree with you on that, so I gotta give you that one.
That's what I'm saying. Two, let's see. Oh god, I hope I didn't forget my two here.
Oh god.
Two there. Well, two, it's the fact of he's. I like the bat ears on the helmet, man. I mean, why not?
The bat ears are a bit much, man. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, and three is like you look at the Dark Knight. The Dark Knight eventually he has like a motorcycle helmet for his full-on helmet anyway. So is it really that big a deal?
All right. Anyways,
the point being, the bat cycle. I want to say the first time we ever saw the bat cycle was in the Two-Face episode, and then we and then, honestly, then it probably showed up here, and then Phantasm. Phantasm was the other. And of course, Phantasm, we have like a recurring trend. Bat cycles do not last long, unfortunately, because bat cycles are great fodder for destroying things, which we'll come to learn later on. Okay, more on that later. Point being, we're showing the bat cycle love, and I've recently, I'm a little glowing on it because the end of last year I bought the animated series toy line. They put out all the vehicles and stuff, and they put out the bat cycle in it because I loved how. I loved it particularly. I had the version when they put out the old toys, and it was because it was just such a cool retro, Art Deco design. But now they put out the actual, perfect one. Like, oh.
Yeah, I know you and your animated series toys, Dragon. Your collectibles or whatever you call them. I know you and animated series merchandise.
Sounds like the toys I would have drooled for as a kid, like done right years later. It's like,
right.
Anyway.
Right.
Okay, anyway, point being that we show in the bat cycle some love. We see multiple shots and snow tires, which is kind of a nice little feature we don't see anywhere else. So snow tires. Okay, so he's telling Alfred about the sightings, which very much call to mind the Man-Bat, which Alfred voices this.
Speaking of Alfred voices, Dragon, it was kind of weird to go back to On Leather Wings and hear the original Batman again.
Yes, Clive Revel, who, by the way, was the original Emperor in Star Wars. Back when the Emperor was like a composite of like all those weird like images when they gave him like the chimpanzee eyes and the old woman's face and they melted it all.
Not when Emperor Palpatine was going live on Spotify broadcasting his podcast. Not then, Dragon.
What?
Oh, I'm just making fun of the whole, Palpatine doing the broadcast in the Rise of Skywalker. The Palpatine having a podcast. I'm sorry.
Anyway. Okay, point being.
Alright, save me, Dragon. Save me.
Okay, anyway. Palps aside. Let's see, so the point is, Alfred says, present company.
Nature box.
present company, the present company excluded line by Alfred, which is kind of nice. There says, so you think he's taking the formula again? Says, I don't know, Alfred, but I know where I can find an answer. Of course, logically, okay, who's your suspect? Well, we know we're suspect. We know where he is. We know where he's held up. We know his wife. We know the whole. It's gonna be really easy to find him. So Francine, meanwhile, she's taking out the trash. She finds the torn up rug. Which, by the way, when we have this close up shot of her face, did you get this at all? Didn't look like a Frank Miller design to you?
Huh, you know what? Let
Like
me
think about all
see
the
it.
ladies. There he is. All the women in the Dark Knight Returns comic, and even in the anime one, if you want to go for, they all have like kind of that squared off kind of face, like when he has like a lack of
Yeah, I
nose.
could see it. I could kind of see it.
Frank Miller drew so many women with like glasses and kind of like the disappearing
The
nose.
glasses, especially. I think the glasses sell it.
The
Yeah.
glasses and the lack of nose and the squared off and like
Uh-huh.
the point being is a little bit of a Frank Millery shot of her, which no marks there. Just a little fun fact. Okay.
It's Miller time.
Anyway, so Francine, she's found the rug, which is not good. We go to the Gotham Zoo, which by the time I kind of forgot about that on the rewatch. It's been a while since we've seen On Leather Wings. Is that yeah, Kirk Langstrom? Yeah, they worked in the zoo the whole time. They're either the zoology department of the Gotham Zoo, which is kind of interesting.
So this is a character that I kind of forgot about. Do you want to set up this guy, Dr. March?
I do. I have something very special to say about Doctor
Oh,
March too.
believe me. Oh,
I
by all means, take the floor on him. Take the
I
floor.
completely forgot about this, and
Uh-huh.
it was really it kind of caught me. It was a little bit of an emotional thing. I gotta be honest. I've been getting really maudlin about this lately. So Francine visits her father, Dr. March, and Dr. March, who of course was in the first one, he was our red herring for the man bat in the first one, the very grumpy, bat obsessed doctor. That was
Right.
his whole.
Right. Yeah.
So he is played by Rene Auberjonois. Rene Auberjonois, the French actor, the guy from Boston Legal, he was in Legend of Tarzan. He's the main people know from Star Trek. He was a really lovely actor, and I love when he popped in things. I forgot that he was Dr. March in the animated series,
Oh,
and
wow.
when I heard the voice, and I was oh, that has to be him. And I looked it up, I was like, yeah, that's him. And because I literally just rewatched all of Boston Legal because I was really missing that guy. Honestly, it's kind of the reason I got into Frasier after John Mahoney passed. And I gotta tell you, he's like one of the all-time greats, and I still miss him terribly. I do. Anyway, point being, he came back, and I always remember Dr. March had the most memorable scene in the whole episode for me. So that's what really hit me when we get to it later on. But
Okay.
anyway, point being, again, the Babs researcher read here last time. So presumably, the status quo since On Leather Wings, I like that we're kind of playing a little bit of catch up here. Is that presumably March, he probably supported the whole Man Bat event because the idea is that Langstrom, he won't work with Dr. March anymore. Presumably, as we see in this episode, he's quite obsessed with the Man Bat. The whole research, he still wants the Man Bat to happen, and Kirk is like, "Oh God, never again, never again." And I imagine that causes some friction. And on the Francine side of things, her father and her husband are not getting along, so that's probably causing a little bit of family strife for her, which is why she's kind of on the rocks in the marriage department, I'd imagine.
No, you know what's interesting is that this whole episode is kind of like, it's a lot of things, Dragon. In some ways, it's kind of like a very, very G-rated version of Shape of Water with like, oh, look, it's a love story between a man and a Batwoman. And then, in some ways, it's kind of like this family drama, with this guy and, kind of like the father-in-law from hell. There's a lot of ways to look at it, but I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. So the point being, he said, like, oh, you ask your husband yourself because he won't work with me anymore. I have my own research to do. Which, of course, again, he's like looking really suspiciously through some files, which is going to pay off later. So Kirk's been
Young
held up in
Fred Jones's head perks up. Red herring. Hmm?
that it does. That it does. I really hope he makes an appearance in that new movie they're doing. But,
Oh, I do too, man. Oh my God, red herring himself.
mm-hmm.
Oh
All right.
yeah.
So
If they
Kirk,
don't, it'll be a missed opportunity. Anyways.
because they're doing young Scooby Doo in there, which
I
which
know,
would be.
that's what I'm saying.
All right, let's see. So Kirk has been held up in the lab all morning. So we see a frustrated and haggard Kirk Langstrom working on a cure.
hmm And it's like I really do like the performance from Langstrom here, where you can tell he is just like at wit's end with he thought he was cured, and now you can kind of see he's got that 5 o'clock shadow going on. His hand is shaky. His research isn't going well. And I got to tell you, man, one of the sad moments in this is where his wife walks in as he's kind of freaking out on himself.
Yeah, I like how he composes himself as, Francine. Francine comes in because you want to keep this all on the down low. Obviously, that's why he's throwing out the rug and everything, getting rid of the evidence. So Francine, she refuses to go through it again, and again, presumably, in addition to the whole father-in-law kind of issue, I think it's also probably a matter of, again, like Kirk. There was always a question of how much of he, when Kirk Langstrom took the formula, something took over. Now, was that him? And again, it's a little bit of a Jekyll Hyde effect. You're like, how much of that was him versus how much of that was like the creature, like finding the components and continuing to take the formula, take the serum. So I'm sure in the aftermath, there's a little bit of like distrust in the marriage, which is probably not helping either. So the point being, some issues have been boiling since the whole taking of the man bat had a serious impact on their marriage.
Yeah,
and she just cannot go through it again. It's like almost like an affair, practically. An affair with
blame her, though. I mean, really, it's like it's an affair with like a terrifying man bat creature.
Yeah, and the man bat did hurt people and robbed, because again, there was a little bit of planning that went into this, and I'm sure that it would disquiet anybody. Like your spouse had a secret, and a secret that kind of hurt people, and again, could have been really dangerous, really fatal, could have gotten them killed. So
all right, so go ahead.
So she's asking, like, why would you take the formula again? Kirk doesn't know the answers, which I feel bad for Kirk Langstrom. He doesn't know the answers here, and of course, what doesn't? Oh, Batman's timing lacks something to be desired in this.
I was gonna say it's one of the funnier Batman entrances.
Because Batman
I'm sick and tired of cleaning up after you, Langstrom.
He has a sweet silhouette as he enters, though. As he enters, like
he does.
The snow and the wind, like through snow and a spat silhouette is freaking awesome. Okay, anyway, so Batman's peeved. This is really the really interesting stuff of the episode, where Batman's really peeved because he saved Langstrom after all in Leather Wings, and again, as we saw in Tiger as not good as that episode was, the best part of that.
The Langstrom moment is the reason why that episode exists, I feel like.
And here we have a bit. Now, bear in mind, we don't really see Langstrom any time after this episode. This is kind of like kind of the ending for his arc. Again, I kept telling you it was like a 3-part arc for Langstrom here. And this is the. And here's the thing. This is kind of a not to the same extent, mind you. This is a bit of like a Harvey Dent sort of setup here, almost. Again, not to the same extent, but it's just the idea like there was a building continuity between these two characters and these sparse interactions as something big happened. Where the idea is like Batman saved someone, and him having saved this person, it kind of proves the Batman's mission that you can. Basically, Batman's faith in rehabilitation and hope for the criminals is kind of with Kirk Langstrom. I saved this guy's life, and he turned it around, and things were going great. And he was actually helping me out on a few things. I built trust with this man, and Batman took joy in something for a change. Perhaps he built I'm doing some good out there. What do you know? And then this happens, and I think his feelings are, I'm serious, I think his feelings are hurt by this, and that's why he's really peeved at Langstrom. You're like, you took the serum again after I saved your bacon the first time?
Well, it's kind of like the classic, junkie going back to the fix, right?
Yeah, because again, there was somewhat of a, maybe not like a good friendship, there was a bit of a trust and a little bit of a friendship built between these two guys.
There's a rapport. I think is a good word for it.
That is the better word for it. Thank you. I'm sure Misty Knight would approve of that term, but yes. Anyway, so but yeah, that's the thing. So Batman comes in. He's basically picking the wrong time for interrogation here. Says you must have a death wish or something. You're taking that formula again, and I'm trying to clean up your messes, the whole shebang here. And Langstrom kind of fires back at him here with I'm not taking the formula. Then Francine, she gets really upset. She goes, "I'm sick of you. I'm sick of my life, and I'm sick
Oh
of you."
God, yeah, it does get really harsh, Dragon. That's what I'm talking about with this episode. It's like it's a little bit all over the place. With like, okay, now it's like a very now this is like the G-rated marriage story all of a sudden.
Dude, this is the kind of stuff that makes me want to see. Brad Bird once he flirted with doing a little bit more with the marital discourse in The Incredibles. Didn't end up going that far with it.
Mm, you're really gonna open the door for me to criticize
What
Incredibles 2, Dragon? It's
just
so
what do
tempting.
you mind? I'm trying
All right,
to.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
My point is, in the deleted scenes of the first Incredibles, we flirted with marital
I
discourse.
know what you're talking about. Yeah,
And my
yeah.
point is, if you were to do a disconnected project about marital discourse, given that, I don't know, I think you might be able to do something with it because Brad Bird. All I'm saying. Anyway, but yeah, so
It
seriously, we're
was
kind of
like
broaching this.
disconnected marriage, except they were all like, I don't know, in the Wild West or something. Like some sort of like a Pixar Western. I don't know. Anyways.
You tired after that stretch?
Yes, I am.
Okay, anyways, so my point is marital discourse in Saturday morning television is kind of interesting. It's an interesting choice, and I approve of it. Okay. So Batman's ass. So before Langstrom can chase his lab, and like Francie, wait! Batman erupts and he's asking like, "What's the deal with the lab set up here?" And Langstrom. This is where Langstrom gets really pointed, and this is awesome here. Where Langstrom's saying like, "I'm making a cure because you don't you get it, Batman? You failed."
Right, right,
Like,
right.
this is what I'm talking about. This is like what I'm trying to think. What episode was I thinking of we covered recently? I didn't go far enough with the. Oh yeah, it was a Tiger Tiger. It was
Yeah,
Tiger Tiger.
Tiger, Tiger. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
When we bring up these interesting ideas, like Batman's kind of faced with kind of a flaw here, he's kind of has to contend with. Where again, Batman, I won't even dig up the Tiger Tiger stuff. The point being here is that Batman, it's the fact that it's like Batman's like a mistake that he made costing someone, and in the aftermath of everything that's gone wrong in the marriage and everything, like because you didn't do this right, you've kind of ruined this man's life because you didn't save him good enough, essentially.
Now there's some good Brad Bird superhero logic right there.
Yeah, sure, and that's what I'm saying. This is like these are the interesting questions you don't really see broached that often. I think it's really kind of fascinating. We're going to broach this a little bit here. So Batman, he used the DNA sampler to take a little, basically determine the truth, like if he's juicing or not, if he's going back on the serum.
So it's essentially kind of like a breathalyzer or something like that.
Oh, yeah, I love that. I remember I did like a little workup of all the Batman gadgets, and I love the DNA sampler. It's always a fun one.
Uh-huh.
It's always a fun one to draw. But anyway, point being, let's see. So importantly, Doctor March is listening in on all this. He's listening to all this. Batman, as he leaves, and this is one of my favorite bits in the episode, second to the Doctor March scene later. Batman takes a moment. He calms down. He says, "Look, if you're right," and Lang's just saying, "Save it. You've done enough already." And
Oh
again,
yeah, that's great. That's a great pointed moment for sure.
like these friends are these guys with the rapport. They're fighting, man. It's like the vibe there is like this kind of these friends feuding vibe. And again, it's such an interesting problem for Batman facing the aftermath of the consequences after an adventure that he had with On Leather Wings. Like that's what that's what I love most about the episode, Tiki. The living in the aftermath of On Leather Wings. That's especially on the rewatch. That's the best quality of
Well,
the episode.
literally does live in the shadow of On Leather Wings, so that's appropriate.
Which again, I'm not gonna. I can only hope. Yeah.
You know what this whole scene reminds me of, Dragon? It kind of reminds me of a better version of the whole like "you're a fraud, Spider-Man."
Yeah, it is kind of that. Yeah. Also, one other thing. This is a little seed I'm going to plant here for you. See if it blooms or not. Okay, so the other takeaway is that this is a moment where Batman's tactics in this moment. He just kind of bursts in at the wrong time and he interrogates him and kind of sets things off with the wife. Batman's tactics have a negative effect on people's home life, which of course a little bit of Nightwing setup, a little bit of the reason why Robin kind of decided to
Oh,
leave Batman and become Nightwing. So this is like a little
okay,
seed that's being planted
okay.
here. Okay.
I gotcha. I will take note of that. That's very cryptic but cool.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
Cool. All right, so let's see. So now we have the fight scene between quote unquote Man Bat and Batman, right?
Yes, we have the best. Honestly, I think the best sequence. I think this turned out the best in the episode of everything in the whole thing. So we have the Bat Cycle chase coming up here. So basically, as Batman unlocks the Bat Cycle, we have the Man Bat POV shot. The Man Bat attacks, and we again. Now I gotta. There's an issue with the episode we gotta talk about. The
Okay.
pants are a big clue.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're
And
not
here's the
wrong.
problem. It's like the opposite problem that Moon of the Wolf has, where in retrospect, if sticking to the model was a problem with this episode, the idea is they comprise the model, which this model works perfectly in Act Three, but in Act Two, when you're trying to build up a mystery, it's a little on the face. Like we
Sure,
saw
sure.
Francine, we saw she always wears the same outfit. That's the problem. Like she's on model. They build one model for her, and they have to, it's like the cartoon characters wearing like Bruce Wayne always wears the brown suit, that sort of thing.
Uh-huh.
So she's always wearing this pink these pink pants with her lab coat. So again, it kind of telegraphs it maybe a little bit too early. I wish they would have just like gave her different colored pants, and I think it would have came off a lot better. I don't know, maybe that.
Oh, God.
But again, like, I'm asking for too much in animation. Plus, you send it overseas, you know how it goes. Anyway,
Of course.
but yeah, so points we have really thrilling action sequences. So basically, Man Bat attacks, is throwing trash cans at Batman like twice, and you're really knocking him for a loop there. And again, attacking Batman for a reason. Again, in perhaps placing blame on the Batman who was involved in the previous scene. Again, again, these are the clues I'm really appreciating there. Why is the Man Bat attacking Batman out of the blue like this? Eh? It
Right,
was really
right.
sly thing. Batman throws a batarang to distract it as he mounts the bat cycle, and then leads to the chase. And this is where things get good, folks. So Batman jumps the wall. He's on the streets. We have this trolley shot where basically kind of directs them back to the trolley. We have a bit where he basically ducks into a parking garage and kind of rides up the stairway. And we have here. I love this. Batman tries to grapple the leg. He uses the grappling gun, he wraps around the leg of the Man Bat, basically tries to weigh it down. Essentially, this is the smarter version of what he did On Leather Wings. On Leather Wings, he basically grappled to the leg of Man Bat, and he was like thrown all the way around, slammed into a balloon,
Right,
you
right. That
name
was
it.
like one of the more memorable sequences in that episode. That was like the big animation highlight, right?
Yep, and again, the aftermath here is like, okay, I did that once. Not a great idea. It was the first time I encountered the Man Bat. This time, I'm going to weigh it down. He ties it to the bike, and it seemingly works. Unfortunately, he's next to a railway, which is not good. So basically, the Bat Cycle is
That man is
basically.
just not having good timing this evening, Dragon. That's what it kind of boils down to.
He's not. He's not. So he's in front of an oncoming train, and you should know this, Tika. The Bat Cycle is always cursed, no matter what.
Oh yeah, oh
Always.
yeah. I already kind of picked up on that.
Like there's a running gag with Batgirl specifically. I mentioned this when we did like the Ninja Turtle Batman versus the Ninja Turtles thing. Is like ever since like this story Batgirl Year One, she always destroys her motorcycles, and Batman has to keep getting her new ones. And again, as we said, like Phantasm, like you destroy a perfectly good motorcycle Bat
Oh,
Cycle. It's sad because it's so cool looking, but it's like anyway. The point being, Batman he's facing down a train right now, and he's just the end to a perfect day. And these are the kind of again these are the snarky Batman lines I can get behind versus like a chatty Cathy Batman we get in Moon of the Wolf. So he jumps away at the last second, and the Bat Cycle goes the way of Back to the Future 3. Not good.
well,
I mean, like face the doorway and facing down the train. Not that I dislike Back to the Future 3 at all. I like it. I mean, okay.
yeah. Right,
Okay,
right.
Man Bat flies away.
I
Batman,
will argue that Back to the Future 3 probably my least favorite of the three of them.
but not a bad movie though.
Yeah. Of course. It's kind of the Return of the Jedi of the
Yeah.
Back to the Future movies.
Well, they know we
Anyways,
Yeah.
just to throw that into for random conversation.
Anyway,
Anyways,
so Batman. I love this moment though. I love that we gave him a little bit of a moment here. Batman chooses to either go after the Man Bat or nurse his wounds because remember he really hurt himself during this fight. So he goes back to nurse the wounds. Alfred's tending to the wounds in the Batcave. What happens?
basically, I don't. All this technical jargon kind of goes over my head, Dragon. But he kind of basically gets a confirmation that the uh, the Man Bat is in fact not the Man Bat. It is not Langstrom's DNA.
Yes, basically Batman got everything he needed. Is Alfred saying, "Oh, sir, I wish you almost had him, sir," and then they basically finds like a little fiber from of Man-Bat hair in there. I think I got all of them that I need, Alfred. Which basically leads to the discovery. So yes.
All right, so then he's I really like how Batman kind of like he's sort of playing matchmaker in the second half of the episode almost. You know, he's like, "All right, I made this mess. I'm gonna have to kind of clean it up." It's like it's matchmaker with a Shape of Water quality to it. You know, that's why I'm saying this episode is kind of all over the place in a way.
Yeah. So basically, Batman's walking to Act 3 of a romantic comedy.
Pretty much. She's
So,
gone, Batman. She's gone, and she's not coming back.
because Langstrom's he's calling the airport. He's literally calling the airport. He's trying to do the old airport.
Dragon, she got on the plane. It's not even a question. She's on the plane.
He's trying to stop her though. So
Oh
Langstrom,
god, just like Dom, Dragon. Dom got on the plane, and then she was never seen from again.
mm.
All right. Anyways.
So importantly, so in all seriousness, what we're doing here is we're setting up the terror in the sky of it all with Act 3. That's what we're doing here.
Right, of course.
So you're probably wondering going into this. Okay, terror in the sky. We see a plane.
I was sort of wondering that as well. I was wondering, like, does the terror in the sky just kind of imply, like, sort of the aerial action in some moments?
All right, let's see. So Batman brings good news. Man-Bat is in Langstrom. It's a new creature. And says, "Like, what do you mean? Who?" He says, "You let me worry about who. You have other problems." And again, that's a nice. That's as close as Batman's gonna get to be like you. You go. Basically, being the guy in the romantic comedy he says, "You
You're
go
right,
get your girl."
Batman's gonna get to like, all right, like Batman. Could you imagine a version of the whole like Joey and Phoebe like dynamic of like driving Ross to the airport, except Batman's driving him to the airport?
A little much, which yeah, that's why we didn't do that. But yeah, I got you. No, seriously.
Friends. Anyways, I'm sorry.
That's kind of Batman's version of an apology, though. The whole like, you've got other problems. Like, are we cool, man? That sort of thing. Like, I'll take care of it.
I also like how Batman's just like, we're both off the hook.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, we were both, again, this is like Batman's like the closest he's gonna get to an apology because Batman was kind of in the right, but so was Langstrom. It was like, okay, he meets in the middle.
Yeah.
Again, timing not so good, but anyway, that's kind of his apology for that. Meanwhile, so Batman has a hangout. Kirk's heading to the airport. Meanwhile, so we're at the zoo. We're at the Gotham Zoo Zoology Department. Batman I love this shot here. I love him picking the lock. He's picking the lock. In Dr. March's file cabinet, he finds the
classic Detective Batman.
Finds the Man-Bat file, all the research. But then we reveal, and this is one of my favorite scenes in the episode. So Dr. March appears. He's armed with a heavy-duty.
Put that down, or I'll trank you so much you'll be out for a week.
Dr. March can armed with this trank gun here. We have basically he's still on the crazy Bat evolution plan.
I love how the red herring essentially becomes the bad guy.
Yeah.
It's a clever evolution.
So Batman disarms March, really, really nicely here. Let's see. Disarms March. So Batman, he learns that Dr. March didn't take the serum. And I love how he just holds him up with one arm, by the way, too, when he just interrogates him too, which is awesome. I love it because Dr. March, he's an older guy, It's like it's not really much of a match for Batman. He's just holding him up with one arm because he's really ticked off at him for everything that they've gone through. So basically, March says, like, no, the batch was destroyed. He's like, who? Tell me what happened. How did it get destroyed? So we flash back to, and this is one time, this is where the episode, this is the part I'm really talking about here. So we flash back to a tired Dr. March, dropping a beaker, and Francine cleaning it up. And as she's cleaning it up, she has no idea what her father's working on. So I love Dr. March is like reflecting positively on his daughter. It's like, oh, she didn't know what I was doing, and she cut herself on the glass. And then it kind of puts two and two together. Like basically, the serum was.
This is a horrified reaction on his part, and I do kind of like the gravity of this moment.
This is a Bearsenwa, man. This is him doing it. This is what I'm talking. This is him. I mean, this is the geek out over, but it's just he was good. And at any point, so the serum entered her bloodstream unwittingly, and Dr. March is in horror at the realization of this. Then we have the big moment here where Batman says, he hands him the file to Batman. Doesn't just take the file because he knows he leaves it in his hands here. He gives him the file. Says, is that what it's going to take? Your daughter's life to end this insanity? And he leaves March, and we cut the black, and then we in the darkness we have like a match is lit and lights fired to the file, just kind of lands in the trash can. I love what I'm saying is I love the complexity we gave to Dr. March. It's the complexity of character distilled down to one shot in Batman the Animated Series. Again, not a major thing. We don't really get to live with this guy. I don't even know this guy. But it's like one shot that kind of tells you. Again, he's not really he's crazy, mind you, with the whole evolutionary bat plan. But he's a father, and he has layers, and he didn't mean for this to happen. He's not the fully mustache trolley bad guy. He's ended up being a bad guy.
No. That's what I mean. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to impose that. That he was a mustache troller of any variety.
No, but
he is kind of
you're right though. It's like he's the de facto villain. You're wrong. I'm just saying that I'm just saying that I love that he's not like a clear cut villain. He's not like an evil. He's
of course. He's not just like he's the one who's pushing the serum, but really that's the only thing he does wrong. He's not like, oh, I'm going to use the serum to turn the whole city into man bats or anything ridiculous like that.
Exactly. So I will say this: when you really think there's a big logic hole in the episode, I give it a pass though, but it's kind of like a we don't care sort of thing. And like as a kid, I had they paid no attention to it. Now it's like, yeah, I hear the complaint, but I don't care. It's where there's no way she could have gotten the serum just by like basically having like a full serum by just like a single cut from the glass. Like there's no way that would actually work. I get it, but it's kind of a PSA.
Yeah.
I would argue it's kind of a PSA for kids, like beware, like if you're working ever in labs or anything. Especially, honestly, the main PSA is if glass shatters, like don't clean it up, or else you're gonna cut yourself at least without being careful. Otherwise, especially if it's like there's chemicals or stuff on there, which could lead to an infection, but necessarily like being injected with a serum, that's quite a different thing. So again, you give it a pass because it's after that beautiful scene. How can you take a pot shot at? It's like. But also, the practical thing I am curious about your thoughts on though. What about the whole lack of memory thing? Because you'd think, and this is like the only plot hole of the episode I'm having a little trouble reconciling with. I can only chalk it up to it's like with Langstrom, where we don't know all the answers about what happened when he turned back the human between New Heist as the Man-Bat, where Francine, you'd think, okay, during that mango scene at the start, she would have, she crawled back into bed and got changed and everything, and if she transformed after that Batman fight, they'd come to, it's like, oh god, why are my clothes all ripped up? What happened to me? You'd think she put two and two together there, but she...
Yeah, no, I hear you. It is a little bit of a logic hole. I don't really have an easy answer for that, Dragon, and it's honestly not even a we don't care. It's more sort of like a we didn't think about that.
Yeah. The only if there's any logic, which there may not.
No. I've got a better sort of like brief description. It's kind of like an oops.
God, you're right. Like, look, if there
no it's a classic like arms akimbo. Oops.
No, I got it. Yeah.
Okay.
But like, if there's any logic, I'd say it's like a monster movie thing where like she did it, but then she forgot about it when she came to. Like she got changed and everything, and then she's I don't know, it's something like that. If there is any logic,
sure.
I think.
Sure.
I think it's supposed to be like, oops, honestly, but okay, so. Plane takes off in a snowstorm, which is never a good idea, I'd imagine, but the plane takes off in a snowstorm. And Francine, she's not feeling too well.
Yeah. I like how accommodating the stewardess is, though.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, yeah. You and I both like our pleasantries, Dragon.
Well, you're okay. You're the big, she got on the plane guy here, so why don't you take us through the rule of rekindle
okay, so Langstrom is sitting like a couple seats in front of her, and he goes back to her, and he's just, he basically just kind of exposits that, hey, Batman says it's all good. I'm not the Man-Bat. We can be together again. Hooray! It doesn't take too much convincing on his end to get her to come back. But then Dragon, like you said, she's not feeling too well, and man, I love how this is edited, how she's like all shaky and stuff as she's running to the bathroom. It really does kind of put you in her shoes.
I love the
And then,
tragedy of the moment too.
Yeah.
Like the whole come home, like let's just come home, and like they're crying. It's a beautiful moment. Then this happens.
And then, oh boy, then we get a full-on transformation scene, Dragon. And I gotta say, I mean, it's not as horrifying as On Leather Wings, but it's, I mean, what does sell it for me, though, is the sound design.
Oh yeah, I love when they brought back the Man-Bat sound like that. Like the tape recorder, like just horrifying. But yeah, it's a lot better than the point is the transformation a lot better than Moon of the Wolf.
Oh, well, yeah, I can agree with you there.
I mean, with that transformation stuff, I mean, this one was actually horrifying. It's like, oh god, look at this poor woman. She's turned into like a fembat. Oh god, it's terrible. Anyway, so I love this bit here.
This is where the the terror in the sky element really begins to kick in. Is right at the kind of like the finale of the episode.
I love the panic here. So, like, Kirk, he just runs to his wife, who's knowing what's happening now. He's put to Francine! He's running into a panic, and he's hit by the tray cart. The little food cart. Then the Man-Bat exits the plane. Again, timing is kind of the age-old curse of this episode, because people just like, man, could have just...
It really is, man.
So the Man-Bat exits the plane, which, kids, not a good idea. There's a little do not open sign there for a reason. So basically the door opens and it had a little vacuum effect where all this cabin pressure goes haywire. Basically everything's getting sucked out the plane, and the pilots are going to have to kind of essentially go for a landing or an altitude sort of adjustment.
And then John Lithgow's there. He's having a panic attack.
Mm-hmm.
He's yelling something about gremlins.
Yeah.
Sorry, couldn't help it.
Let's see. So Kirk, different Kirk. Sorry. So Kirk, he gets knocked out by the door. He kind of flies like not out the door, but to the side of the door. He gets knocked out. Batman, meanwhile, he's flying the Batwing to assist the plane after hearing like, okay, it's facing some troubles right now. The cabin pressure's going down. Let's see. So Kirk, he falls from the plane. This is quite an exciting sequence when you think about it. Kirk. He falls out of the plane like Iron Man 3 style, man. Kirk falls out the plane.
Oh.
But then again, as Batman's like, he's horrified. Oh god, I have to save him. Like Man-Bat swoops in, surprising. I love Batman's reaction. Oh god, the Man-Bat swooping in and saves him. We have this brave stewardess. I love that the stewardess is trying to save Kirk and then also trying to close the door. Like, that's what she's trying to do. She's trained to do, man. Which probably going outside the Call of Duty also. She's like, trying to reseal up the plane there, and Batman uses the really cool claw feature, which, believe me, still today when they put it out again, but even back then, that was one of the big, no pun intended, hooks of the Batwing toy, where it had like a little extended claw hand that you could basically use to kind of grab bad guys and stuff here. Basically, use this to kind of save save the stewardess and kind of close up the door and kind of save the plane there. Batman saving a plane, nice. Okay.
Oh man.
It's back to our Shape of Water affair.
All right. Okay, Jesus Christ. Yeah, G-rated Shape of Water, pretty much. Except Dragon, it's interesting because Shape of Water is water and this is air, so it's like if Guillermo del Toro did make a bat creature movie, I could kind of see some of this imagery sort of actually playing a role in it, weirdly. It's like a mere movie that we never got. Anyways, I'm sorry. Go ahead. What's going on?
It's basically Batman's giving chase in the Batwing, which of course reflects the earlier scene where Batman was pursued by the Man-Bat. Now Batman's pursuing the Man-Bat. It's kind of a nice little reversal of action.
Yeah. You're right. There is some cool kind of like mirroring going on between this and Leather Wings for sure.
Because now they're on even footing, being able to fly at the moment.
They fly now, Dragon.
Last I checked, yes. So, Francine, she flies Kirk to Gotham Bridge. Batman, let's see, Batman appears. He fires the trank gun with the antidote at the Man Bat. No immediate effect, which is not again. The timing is, oh my god! I'm saying the timing really is. I mean, we're joking about it right now. Like everything is ill timed for Batman this episode. Oh my god.
No, I wasn't even joking about it. Really, it is just like, yeah, it throughout the episode, it is just kind of a curse.
So it's almost like the opening of Men in Black 2 with the tranquilizer, the antidote's just not quite not taking
God.
effect. So basically, it's not taking immediate effect, which leads to a scuffle on top of the bridge. The Man Bat basically dive bombs Batman a few times. Batman manages to get a second shot in mid dive bomb. He's hanging off the bridge. Batman, he leaps and kicks Man Bat right in the face. Man, just kicking poor
Ow,
Francis.
right? Kisser.
Yes. So the Man Bat then knocks him back, and finally turns back. By the way, Batman there's like kind of a weird, like if you pause, you have like a really wonky Batman frame. By the way, if you really look at it,
Oh God!
which sometimes happens even in the best of episodes. You have like the wonky freeze frame occasionally, but it's
Of course.
So the point being, Batman's really knocked back, and I mean he's knocked out, knocked back. She finally turns back. Kirk comes to meanwhile. Francine, again, traumatic experience, kind of like transforming like that. So Francine's kind of dazed, basically dazed and on her feet, which is a bad thing when she's on top of a bridge, which kind of creates a little bit of a vertigo effect right now. So Batman then comes to. Francine falls. I love Batman's shock reaction, like, oh god, because Batman's going to, as we went over in the last episode, wonderfully so. When someone falls off something, Batman's going to dive right in to save him, which I love.
Dragon, a lot of this episode, I'm realizing, is just literally a lot of falling with style. I'm not even joking around with it. It's like they fall from planes, they fall from the bridge.
Yes, it is. So Kirk grabs the arm of his wife, right at the last second there, and before Batman gets there, says, "I got you, and this time I'm not letting go," which is nice.
Uh-huh.
So then we have our happy ending, where the nightmare's finally over. It looks like the Man Bat affair has been put to bed. Batman walks off.
I gotta admit, it's a little bit of an abrupt ending. I don't know, Dragon. This whole episode, like, it's solid. Like, it doesn't have a ton of stuff. It doesn't have a ton of substance for me, and I can't exactly put my finger on why. Kind of wrapping into my final thoughts. Like I said, I do think obviously one of the problems that is kind of unfair but true about it is kind of in the shadow of On Leather Wings, unfortunately. Honestly, Dragon, at the end of the day, I just feel like this episode is a little bit disjointed. It's trying to be a lot of things at once. It's trying to be a direct sequel to On Leather Wings. It's trying to be this weird kind of like Shape of Water style romance. Well, at the same time, it's got a little bit of a terror at 20,000 feet going on, but only for like a few minutes. And literally, like, the name of the episode is only that few minute sequence. And then, like we said, Batman's kind of really off his game, oddly, throughout most of the episode. So I really don't know how to feel about this one, Dragon. It's not that I dislike anything about it. It's just that I feel like it really doesn't come together to form a cohesive whole. So I feel bad. I feel bad being this indifferent about it. I really do.
This one, again, I think it's a solid enough follow-up, but yeah, you're right. There is not a lot of substance. Let me put it this way. It's not that there's not a lot of, I'm sorry, I'm trying to phrase this properly here, is that there's not a lot of substance, but there are cool things in the episode. And that if you compare it to all the other kind of animal transformation-themed episodes, it's the king of the bunch here. I mean, but again, notwithstanding On Leather Wings, which is the obvious king of all those episodes.
Sure.
Of the recent ones we've covered lately, I will gladly take it with a smile on my face compared to.
No, you're right about that. You're right about that. I mean, compared to like something like Tiger, sure.
I mean, the episode does have style in its camp. It is bring up some things, and again, going farther with them, then we kind of scratch the surface of them.
Gotham City Slam poetry session. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And my point is, like, we're scratching the surface of some. We're less just scratching the surface. More, we're scratching the surface of more interesting things that I think I think we're building towards these. We're addressing things you never really imagined they would do. Or again, while we do broach marital discourse in the episode, uh, the more important takeaway is that Batman he kind of furthered that discourse. And if I were to read into it,
Right.
I'd like to think, if I'm going to be all astute here for a moment, for a mere moment, mind you. I would say Batman's bad timing in the episode, and kind of is again the tactics that again will kind of cement some stuff like a character flaw later that kind of leads in the whole Nightwing story, but all down the line, way down the line. Batman, you could argue, is kind of losing since the loss of his parents. Fundamentally, he's kind of lost true intimacy, and he's not recognizing in the lives that he saves. And that's kind of the point of the episode, if you want to look at it that way. Is that again, this is the aftermath of him, like you save a life, but then you don't really check in with it all that much. Or like you kind of like
Right. Right. Kind of like the Incredibles, like we were talking about.
yes, but also it's the idea of again, like Batman, he's not seeing a life after he's done the mission because the mission's ever going on. He's only seeing the job one before he's seeing
Sure.
maybe like what's life after it? Like, what again? He's like we're basically it's quite the episode's an animal transformation episode. So there's a question of humanity worked in there. I think under the surface, it's not quite on the surface. It doesn't really need to be on the surface, but I really respect the fact that we got stuff like that in here, and then we have like really nice humanistic moments like Dr. Mars. So the episode has a lot of moments going for it. Not quite a solid like a titanium strong through line like we have with On Leather Wings. On Leather Wings is basically imagine if you took the motorcycle sequence, the bat cycle sequence, you had it all the way through the episode. That's kind of what On Leather Wings.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's kind of what that is, and that again, this episode, it's kind of you're right. It is in the shadow, but I don't have a problem with it being in the shadow, though. That's the thing. I'm kind of it basically is also at the end of the after all the animal episodes kind of put a moratorium on is that this episode is kind of proof that Man-Bat is very much kind of the Jekyll and Hyde meets the Wolfman of the Batman ones. That's the best version you're ever going to get of the animal transformation story with Batman, where you have like a character that kind of Batman is saved and he's kind of has a little bit of a history with. And that again, there is sort of you can do all your monster stuff, but also you have the substance that you can back it up with. Not something that we lack with Tigress, and something that we lacked with Anthony Romulus. I wish the episode played the mystery up a little better. I think the mystery is again. I think they played it towards kids before they played it towards the general audience. Where I think the kids are going to put together like the red pants or the pink pants, or at least at that time. That's the thing. I wish our literal, I wish our clues and our red herrings could have been like maybe a little. If they only could have changed the color, I think that would have been a lot better, a little less obvious. I mean, did you know going the episode you put it together rather easily, didn't you? It was Francine, didn't you?
I could pretty much call it. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. And that's the only thing of rewatching is like, yeah. I mean, I really respect what the episode's going for there. I just wish it only needs like very minor tweaks. I think with some minor tweaks, the episode could have been a little better. I think it could have been better, and it didn't really need to be. It gets the job done. Examine some interesting questions of aftermath as I've gone on ad nauseum here. It works. It's it's a solid sequel with emotional stakes, and I'm satisfied with it.
All right. Well, I think we're going to be a little bit more than satisfied with the next one, Dragon. Take it away.
All right, a little bulldozer here. Poker night in Gotham. A round table of rogues. Can Batman survive multiple madcap death traps? Which of these narrative ne'er-do-wells will win the night? Tune in and find out. Same animated bat time, same animated bat place.
On the next visit to the animated Batcave with Almost Got Him. I threw a rock